Okay, the recorder is on, so we could start when we're ready.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
So I'll let you
Antitrust
drive
slide.
the membership thing thereafter. Okay, yeah, let's start with that.
Sure. Yep.
Thanks.
Antitrust slide. Everyone, you can read it there. We have quite a bit in the agenda. I guess we should probably talk about the LFN membership. I actually put a page, so I'm going to switch over. I put a page under the TSC page. This is coming up, the TSC page?
Yeah, it is.
Yep. So LFN induction here, and it's pretty much that agenda there. So we could sort of use this. We'll target the TAC review on March 10 to present our case for induction, and then we'll follow that with a board review on March 24, which is the March board meeting. I put a link to the Google Doc for the draft documentation. It's pretty much standard documentation. I started filling it out, but we have lots of work to do.
So is
I don't know how much you want.
Is that what you're going to use for the TAC, or is that also used for the board?
It'll be used for the TAC, and then there'll be a slimmed down, just a couple of slides for the board. But yeah, so the one for the TAC will be, more built out, and we can go over it if you want, and go over all the areas. But I just sort of picked on a couple of them down below here. So again, that's a Google Doc. Let me know if anyone has any trouble getting in there. We need to have that completed by February 24, so that we can send it out to the TAC with our formal request to be on the March 10 agenda, and then they'll have 2 weeks to review that material and prepare any questions they may have for us on the 10th. So we have a couple of weeks to get it finished. So Feb 24, we want to do that. Some of the emphasis from the TAC is, of course, technical feasibility, because they're the technical council, advisory council, but also governance and cross-community collaboration. So I was looking over the wiki. I think we have some work to do on the governance. Maybe I'm just not seeing where it is, but we can talk about that. Or maybe we could set up a separate call to just go over that. But I think we need to take a look at that. But those are the three areas which are very important for the TAC: technical, governance, and cross-community collaboration.
Yeah, me and Alex had requested some work there as well. I guess we were hoping to get our hands on some documentation, but let's have a separate effort there if we can, Luis.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me okay?
And now we can. We haven't heard you before, but yeah.
Yeah,
Welcome.
that's the problem. So Jonas and I put together a governance document. I think it was actually reviewed by LFN. So we do have something. It probably needs to change both in terms of terminology as well as in terms of some of the content. We need to kind of tweak some of the things that that we have been trying to do for a while. And as Jonas said, we asked for the source document and never really got it. So now would be the time to kind of get maybe, kind of put as much, keep the original technical charter as vanilla as it can be, and then put, all the changes into, community specific technical, operating procedures document.
Yep, that's right.
And then, we would need to transition from, terms like participating companies to member companies, right? Because, I'm not sure if that's something we need to do up front, but assuming that there will be no objections, we're now transferring to a formal model of membership, right? And that's kind of, I think, what we need to propose as version 2 of what we have.
Yeah, we need to cover things like what makes a contributor to the project, Yeah, and how is the TSC elected, and what's the eligibility for getting elected into the TSC, PTLs, project technical leads, and how those come about and how that's governed. So all that stuff needs to be. We have some work to do around that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know how much of that we actually have.
Well, we have the technical charter, and that specifies and defines what a contributor is.
And that also
But
specifies the TSC election and stipulates some sort of grandfather clauses for companies that have formed a community in terms
so,
of special powers for a limited period of time, things like that.
can we then, Luis, could we have a separate meeting for that? Because I think it's going to take some time to go through what we have and then to address what we need to add, right? And we just have people that want to join up for that meeting. I will be there. Alex will probably be there.
Yep.
Then we can, right?
I think Jonathan and I have an idea of what needs to change, and we've kind of had a running list of those changes. We just never found an efficient way to make the changes.
Yeah, we also need to understand how those changes will clash or align with what's going on in LFN. So.
And I would imagine that if we make changes, there would need to be a legal review again, unfortunately.
Well, you see, I think I think there might be confusion about the technical charter, which is sort of a legal document, and then the project governance and how we operate on a day-to-day basis, which is something a little different. We could probably take a look at like what ONAP does, which is it's pretty heavy. I mean, there's a lot there, or maybe some of the other LFN projects, and see what they've done. I know that for XG Vela, we took an ONAP look and then sort of molded it to the way we wanted it. And we could look at that as well.
I think we hopefully will evolve into something like the ONAP model. I'm kind of familiar with it, but I would start with something lighter weight. So maybe we can.
Yes.
Let's not get bogged down in the sorts of things that ONAP has to deal with.
So I agree, because it's heavy. ONAP is a heavy document, so we may not need that much, but that's the type of document different than the technical charter, which is more of actually a legal document, right? It's a establishment of the project, really, which is different than what we need to do here.
Yeah.
But I mean I know that bits and pieces of how the initial TSC is established is there, and contributors, but there's more needed definitely on our governance page. But anyway, we can go over that.
So can you set it up, the meeting, Luis, or?
Yes, I was just going to say, what kind of, today's Wednesday, did you want to try for this week? Is that people have availability, or what do you think? I'd like to start on it as soon as we can.
I'm out Friday, and tomorrow looks horrible.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So, well, I know you want to get started. I guess I have availability tomorrow at 10 and onwards, I guess, till 2. So I don't know what you have, Alex.
That's what I'm looking at, my sad schedule. I can potentially do something at 10.
I'm sorry.
That would be my 11.
10 Pacific. Yeah, 10 Pacific. So I'm unfortunately, so 10 to 11 Pacific tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow would work, or after 2 p.m. Pacific would work.
Anybody else that want to join? Speak up.
10 to 11 actually would work perfect for me. That's 1 to 2 in the afternoon. So that works. I can set that up.
Are you guys all speaking specific now?
What do you mean about as far as the time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Pacific. Are you 10 to
Oh,
11?
I'm sorry. 10 to 11 Pacific. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
That works for me.
That works for me. So send it out on the TC, and then anybody can join. I think that's fair. Right?
Yep. So let's talk specifically about governance. And what I'll try to do is I will try to put some examples, some links to examples, and we can sort of, make that as a starting point, and how to evolve from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stay, 10 Pacific.
So that's going to be 0211, and that's 10 to 11. Is it PS or PT? Where are we?
It's standard still.
Oh, standard. Yeah. There you go.
PST, yeah. I don't know if you want to throw in an AM. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. The other piece, which is a little bit on the minor side, but I want folks to think about it, is quotes from your companies. We like to do member quotes in like if we're going to do a press release or a blog. We like to do quotes from companies of the the virtues and the assets of ODIM and what it's bringing to the company and why they're involved, that kind of stuff. Mostly PR stuff, right? But just something to think about. And and we do need a TAC representative.
On that topic, I think, again, at least from the Intel legal perspective, all of that has to be reviewed by the legal team.
Yep.
So I'm very sensitive to your timing, right? Because it's not like they can turn this around, in half an hour, right? It takes them maybe a couple of days or so. So just please keep that in mind. And I think, when we were doing the initial formation, we, companies that are kind of, like to talk about billable hours, the lawyers from HP and Intel and other companies have taken, a good time to.
But Alex, what do they need to review? So like for us, we're already members.
So as long as we keep the technical charter pristine, I think they would still want to review the operating rules.
Yeah.
And certainly any quotes and anything we do publicly in the press has to be reviewed.
And what is the quote thing? Is that like who needs to? Can random Joe who sits in second aisle coding up something make a quote, or does it need to be on a higher?
We don't do that. I mean, we have people who are authorized to speak about the community on behalf of Intel.
So John, is that something you can run with from HP or John Meckling? Sorry.
I'm sorry, I was double muted working on something else.
Oh, okay, yeah, there is this, to get into LFN, they're looking for some company quotes as well, PR type of thing. And Alex was just saying that anything like that will have to be reviewed by legal on the Intel side. I assume we have the same issue.
Yeah, we would have the same issues. Let me bring it up with probably Jim McLaughlin.
Okay, cool.
So I just want to clarify that a bit. It's not necessary for the induction proposal, but we would like it in any type of a blog or press release that comes after the induction. And the reason why I put it on the list now is because I know it takes a long time because it has to go through marketing teams and then legal teams and everything else at companies, including here, right, at LF. So it's sort of a longer term. If we don't have it for the induction, it's okay, but we would need it for the press release. So that's why it's sort of there to keep an eye on it. And for the exact reason that everyone brought up, it takes a long time to get them because it has to go through quite a few folks to get the approvals. Yep. So all good. I think we're in good shape there. We will need a TAC representative who will, just speak on behalf of the project on a time to time. It depends. Whenever the TAC has any questions or something, they might be asked, hey, can you join a TAC meeting and talk about whatever? So if someone wants to think about who may want to, volunteer to be a TAC rep, let's think about that as well, so we can, put
Is
that in
that
the
a role
presentation.
that will move to not, so somebody can be it for the first 6 months and then we change it, or
Oh,
how does that
absolutely.
work? Okay.
Absolutely. We can assign them for 6 months. We can assign them for a year. Probably a year is probably about the maximum, I'm guessing, because I would imagine whenever the TSC turns over, we may want to consider, changing TAC rep as well, right?
Okay.
I don't know how much of an issue, speaking of TSC, is the fact that we don't have a chair and a co-chair, because we do have to, like in governance, we'll have to spell out, how do we do elections? But we purposely decided not to have a chair, and a co-chair for this project yet. So I'm not certain really how that's going to go over, quite frankly.
But we can put that in place if that is needed, right?
Yeah, we
so
could.
I think once we start making changes to the charter and making changes to the operating procedures, I think we need to structure them assuming that we're inducted. And then we do have to worry about, chair elections or rotations, and, whether we need a co-chair for that matter.
Yeah, we may not need a co-chair.
Yeah, well, we
Yeah.
mean, given the size of the TSC and the number of, say, formal member companies so far, we probably don't need much formality in terms of how, Jonas has been doing a great job kind of acting as a chair for this meeting, but, we all take turns in kind of driving things. So
Right.
again, let's not, make things unnecessarily complicated. But certainly if there's a minimum set of rules we have to comply with, Louis, then we should know those ahead of time.
Yep. I think having a chair, or at least a chair in place, or the structure for elections for a chair, I think is going to be important, and we probably need it in the induction. So
let's see if we can address that tomorrow. So
yeah, exactly. I think what we're going to do is we're going to get into, we'll take a look at some templates from like Tungsten Fabric maybe, and ONAP, and maybe even XG Vela, and see what they're doing, and sort of see if we can copy some of that, what makes sense. And then also I want to jump into this document, the induction proposal document, so you can start seeing what's in there and what we're going to need. We're going to need quite a bit on cross-community collaboration, but I think we got a template for that, so we should be okay there. Governance we know is big, and then the technical stuff, I think we have that well in hand. So I don't think we have, I think right now probably our biggest deficit might be the governance, having it, properly documented might be our biggest deficit right now. But I think we'll be okay though. We'll just have to do it.
Yeah, let's go through that tomorrow, and then we just put in an action plan, see if we can get whatever is missing in place, right?
Absolutely. So look for that 10 o'clock Pacific tomorrow. I'll get that on the calendar as soon as we're done. Okay. So I guess let me just continue to drive a little bit longer. Back to the.
By the way,
agenda.
Bob joined here. I'm sorry I was late.
Hey, Bob.
Yep.
Deal. We're talking about the induction proposal, LFN membership induction.
Yeah, that first part where I came in, were you talking about a quote for a press release? Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, that's the
legal
premise
review
of that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like companies, statements from the companies of why they're involved in the benefits of ODIM, that kind of thing, for a press release. Well, the next one's the release and who is testing, and I just added where are the test results being documented. So,
well, the reason I asked this is, the deliverables from the project will have much higher quality the more people testing. So I just want to make sure that when we will go into RC period, that we have people testing, and I guess where it's documented, I think we document at least deviations by creating issues, right? But I don't know.
Yeah, but I think this is where we need to kind of start. I mean, I don't know how important it is, but at least philosophically try to think like other LFN projects, right? So at
Yeah.
least in ONAP, there's a formal integration team. They do the final testing. They sign off on the release. They document what they've done. Um, they open JIRA tickets. If things, JIRA issues or, whatever, write additional stories of additional work needs to be done, right? There's a set of tools that, all the projects consistently use across LFN community. And for interoperability with those projects, it might be good for us to kind of transition to that set.
But I
And
mean, is that something that is too heavy for us? Thinking we are a few companies, can we put an integration team together and have them run tests? Where are they running tests? We anyhow have to use individual companies.
So yeah, typically projects have, open labs, right? Where anybody can go and do their unit testing, or the integration team can go and do their integration testing, right? And these labs could be hosted, eventually by multiple companies in multiple regions, depending on the size of the community and whatnot. We can potentially piggyback on some of the existing lab infrastructure that's being used by different communities, just to start with. But ultimately, I think, that's kind of the model that everybody has, right? OPNFV, or I guess Anakit has, their lab infrastructure. ONAP has, open labs all over the world, right? We don't probably need open labs all over the world, but hey, we need at least one, so that, anybody can go and get a definitive config for testing purposes.
Right. And just to remind you, I am still working with the ICE team here at Intel. It's the Intel Community Lab and Intel Community Environment team, to designate 2 pods, one for dedicated to ODIM and one more or less dedicated towards ODIM airship testing coordination.
Yeah.
Ongoing.
So if we had a couple of pods to start with, that would probably be more than enough. And if we can pull that off, then we would have enough for now, I think.
So in the meantime, while we have that, there are a couple of other things that we could do. Obviously, I mean, we have developer teams on the HPE side, we have it on the Intel side, and we also have some upcoming BMC emulator. So I guess we could, until we get the pods, we could do testing that way, right?
Well, we can, right? We can also make it part of our test infrastructure on the shared pods, or on the lab pods as well. And it's a tool. It's not a substitute for integration testing, or for regular release testing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be, but we would need to have some formal scripts and regression tests written that anyone can run. I mean, that's ultimately the goal, right? Is to have consistency of testing, not just multitudes of testing.
Yeah. I just feel that, so let's see. I mean, the next release I think we have is in August. Bob, would it be fair to assume that we would have at least some pod or something in place then? Or
Sure. Yeah.
Not committing, just speculating. I mean.
Yeah, we had some delays, but these machines will be coming into our lab probably late March now, depending on the lead time. And by then we will have squared away which pods they're going to be occupying.
So now with only 2 releases this year, should we have a joint team then, perhaps? We can discuss it later as we're getting closer to August. But then to do this type of integration and test, and what Alex was bringing up from the ONAP project. Or is it too heavy for us?
Well, I mean, look, it's heavy as you want to make it, right? Conceptually, it's good to have consistency. So if anybody wants to create a new project, they don't have to guess what regression tests they run or what rules they have to follow, right? That's always good to document. Doesn't mean that we have to have, like 3 weeks worth of tests. And it also certainly doesn't mean that we can't use, black box, implementations like the BMC simulator, right? That sort of throw out stuff, and, that's okay. We can do that. We can write that into our processes and document which specific interactions between the BMC simulator and ODIM need to be tested and demonstrate it as being tested, I guess. We need to define what that means.
Normally, I think CI/CD should drive a lot of this, obviously, but there is some extra.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So ONAP designates, for example, a release manager, just like we have with Susan, right? And the release manager typically works with the integration team to kind of get the release out the door, but the final sign off happens when the integration test PTL says it's good.
So I think let's table this for a while, and after we do the LFN transition, we can review this again. We see what type of community we have. We might have a lot of more companies. I mean, if you're optimistic, right? And then we might be able to put something together.
Honestly, we're talking about changes that I would kind of target not for this year, but for next, if we have a larger community, right? We kind of have something that works today. I would definitely get like some test pods out there, as Bob is trying to do. And, I think it would be good to at least, at the high level, document what each project under ODIM is expected to run in terms of tests. There's also a few other things we can do to ensure that we have coordination and kind of interoperability between different projects. So all of that can be done over time.
What's an integration test? PTL, something team lead? What does that stand for?
Project team lead. So the
you.
integration project, in ONAP is just responsible for taking all the piece parts that have been cooked and then doing the final system level test to kind of make sure that all the components fit together. Excellent. In terms of interfaces, contracts, behavior, and all that.
Okay. Yeah. So let's discuss a little bit later. I'm not sure we should. I think I want to have a little bit more thorough testing for the August release, but I agree with you, Alex. It's to get a larger type of mechanism in place, perhaps next year, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We put this 5G cloud native network thing on the agenda as well. I don't know if you wanted to drive that, Luis, or
I added a little bit here just from a program perspective. We're going to be having a meeting on February 16, and Brandon Wick will be sending out the invite, and I'll make sure we get on the, we're on that invite, and we have a place there in that meeting. The question is who to attend. I know that William had expressed interest in attending. Who else wants to attend that call to represent ODIM? I don't think we need the whole TSC on that call, but certainly, we can have more than one person. I'll be on the call as well. So I don't know who else.
I would be interested,
Terrific.
Jonas.
Thank you.
But if a lot of people wants to come, I think we should be a few, right? So.
What is a cloud? I'm sorry, I kind of maybe tuned out a little. 5G cloud native network is what? It's a.
Oh, sorry, Alex. This is something that came up yesterday. So there. I don't know if you want to give a little bit of a background, Luis, because we were a little bit thin on participants yesterday.
So I dropped this a couple of weeks ago on the technical steering committee table for consideration. We've got a 5G cloud native demo that we roll out a demo pretty much yearly during ONES. And yeah, and so we've had this cloud native network demo that was put together. There's the links here to a solution brief. So the point is, we want to resurrect it, add platforms to it, and showcase it at the October ONES, October 11, 12. You know, have a demo, show use cases, have a nice video, and we think that ODIM is a good fit for it.
Is,
Mhm.
Is Aniket part of that as well?
Yes, Aniket, ONAP, I believe so. Well, I mean, it originated from OPNFV, so I think
Yeah, this was the
Aniket
VCO, has origins in
Yeah.
that VCO, if you remember that, Alex. The mega demos, and last year they established like a 5G call across some infrastructure from Europe to the US or something. It worked. It was cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a good idea. You always have ambitious thoughts when it comes to these demos, but if the to show true value of ODIM in the context of all these other projects and synergies with other projects, if the work on hardware profiles and application profiles is far enough along, maybe that would be a good thing to show.
Yeah.
I would love to see as well. I mean, it depends on what happens with the MTF and composition, but if we could get some composition in there as well, that would be really slick.
Well, and that would kind of bring us back to, like the core use cases for ONAP, right? Which is, composable on-demand infrastructure, for just-in-time delivery, and then repurposing of resources. If we can show, ultimately show that as a value, that would be good. When is this happening? And this is, October. Oh, well.
Yeah. So the committee's sort of getting together now to start talking about putting it together. So we've got months. Now it's a lot of work. So I think we probably have about the right time. A whole year, half a year plus to get it done. But yeah, now's the time to start thinking about which platforms might want to be included. Some of the use cases, certainly for ODIM, that we may want to showcase. Now's the time to sort of put them on the table.
Right.
When is the initial meeting, Lou?
I'm sorry?
When is the first meeting? Like, you said there is a meeting where Jonas is also.
Yes, next week, Feb 16 is the meeting date. I'm just waiting for the invite to come out, and then I'm going to forward it on to whoever wants to join.
Okay, yeah, please include.
Yeah, I'd like to attend. I'd like to kind of see if we can drive some use cases there.
Can we be too many, or are we good?
I think we'll have William, Jonas, Alex, myself. I think we're okay with that.
Just at one point when we start the actual demo work, I think it's key that we get an AMI person involved.
Yeah. So this is Jonas. Yeah. If there is no limitation, then I would like to join as well. But if it is better to keep it short, then you guys can handle it. Let me know.
I think we can get you in there.
Perfect.
Awesome.
That'll be fine. Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So, Louis, would there be a recording for this? Because India time, if you can attend or look at the.
Yes, I will ask if we can get. I'll ask if we can record it. I don't think anyone will have any objections to recording it.
Yeah.
What are the meeting rules? I mean, anyone who is a member of LFN can attend the meeting, or is it a closed meeting?
No, I think it's pretty much open. Whoever wants to help, whoever wants to contribute to the demo is welcome to sit in and make their case, and contribute.
Very good. Yeah, I'll take notes as well Bharat. So if
Yeah.
they can't record it, I'll take some notes.
Yeah. No, I think they'll be okay with recording it. I'll ping Brandon in the background just to, hey, is it okay if we record it? I'm sure he'll be fine with it.
Yeah, that's a good opportunity for us, I think. So we should try to be part of that. Well, I guess in this meeting, do you know a little bit about the agenda, Luis, or is it?
I got to take a look at the,
architecturally where we would fit in and things of that nature.
yeah, give me a second. Let me see if we got, let me see. Ah, yeah, the link is there. Look at that. Let's take a look at the link. I don't know how much of a demo meeting. So this is all on the wiki, all available to anyone who wants to look at it. Next meeting is Feb 2, but that's not correct. Yeah, no, there's no agenda yet. It doesn't look like. Let's just see what it looked like on the 19th. Here it is. So here's the 19th.
Oh, there is a Slack channel there as well. Perfect.
Yeah. Oh, there is a Slack channel. Correct. I should get you guys on that. And so yeah, there's the. What I'll do is, as soon as I see it, I'll go ahead. As soon as I see the meeting invite, I'll create a space for the Feb 16 meeting, and I'll make sure ODIM is listed on the agenda so that we have a place there. But it's not. It's really a non-issue. It's really a non-issue. We're there, and we'll discuss. But anyway, all good.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity. I think we're a good fit. Here's tons of background on the previous versions of it.
Okay. Yeah, I want to understand the use cases and these type of things, and also a little bit on the architecture.
Yeah. So if we have use cases, even if they don't match any previous demo use cases, if we have use cases which we think are compelling and interesting, we should just put them out front and say, hey, we got use case A, B, and C, and we'd like to, showcase it. And I think that's actually that we'll just be proactive about it and say, these are the 3 ODIM use cases we want to show, and just put them right out there along with the other use cases for the demo. And I think we'll be in good shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
We could just help drive that whole agenda,
Very nice.
Yeah.
So
I think we'll be
I guess
okay.
we ran out of topics now.
I think so.
Anything?
I gotta jump anyways.
Okay.
Thanks,
Anything
guys.
else from
So
anybody?
I do have one more thing if we're
Great.
if we're done. As we transition, if let's say we're blessed to be part of LFN, so the tooling, right? I'm looking forward to, Confluence and Jira being integrated the way they have been on ONAP and other projects, being able to track problems and whatnot. We probably need to understand, what is the standard tool set and how do we transition to it so that, we have commonality.
I think the Jira thing will be easy because we kind of changed the issues in Git to mimic priorities and things from our Jira. So hopefully we can transition to that fairly easily.
Well,
I don't know
nothing
if
is
they have
ever,
other tools.
yeah, nothing is ever trivial. That's the only reason.
Well.
Right. So, yeah, that would be something, Lewis, maybe you could help with, because a lot of these tools were not accessible to us before because of our status and standing. But if we're gonna
Peasant status, you mean? Now we're transitioning.
Community status, right? We were an incubating project that, by definition wasn't eligible for this tooling, but now we are, potentially. And so let's see how what it would take for us to move.
Yep.
Yeah, I think based on where we are now, I think what we need is to turn up Jira, which is really a pretty simple thing. I turned it on for XG Velo once they became under the umbrella, and it was literally just, a couple of clicks and we were there. because we already have Wiki, right, Confluence, which was a step
Yeah.
that normally doesn't happen this early, but that's all good. And then the Jira project is something that's going to get set up, as soon as we get the induction, approved. But yeah, so let me just click this link here. We'll go over some of this stuff.
Yeah. And Jonas, at
yeah.
least in ONAP, they've done lots of cool integrations between. I mean, they're not ONAP specific, but obviously Jira and Confluence come from the same company, and so by definition, there's integration between the two. And you can have some very nice dashboards about releases, about development work, who's working on what. All of that can be seen from a web page in Confluence, but on the back end maintained in Jira.
Yeah, we need to clean up our wiki anyhow. Right now, it looks like a bunch of engineers have worked on it, and it sucks. So
Yeah.
we should.
So I threatened to redo the front page to be more like ONAP.
Yeah.
And I will do that. It's just that, as always, threatening is easy, but finding time to do all this stuff is kind of complicated.
I know, but once we become, it's a good thing to start thinking about, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So anyway, I put it, for those who can stay for another couple of minutes. I started drafting this. I actually drafted this a while ago, and there's a lot of it is standard stuff, but and a lot of the things that you just talked about at tooling is actually in here already. So I mean, there's going to be some overview, background, functionalities, partners that we need to update. High-level architecture. There'll be some vitals here as far as release schedule, project license, to make sure we got that correct. This is just basic stuff here, but just some high-level project vitals. And there's going to be a lot of talk about the release because we'll have one by then. So to piggyback off of the testing discussion that happened earlier, there may be a lot of questions around that. So we'll need to be prepared for our release schedule as well as the current release that's currently being tested. So
no, it's out. I mean, we released that last Monday.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So lots of questions around that. Some scope around documentation, development, integration testing, any type of platform certification, stuff like that. Whatever we have. I know the testing was just, something that's been talked about. So anyway, we can shape and mold this the way it fits our needs, but these are just sort of high level of what we need to consider. Mm-hmm. Project health and community health. This is my stuff. I'll pull down some analytics as we get closer. This is an example here, so don't take it. Well, no, I'm sorry. These are actually some real stats here that were presented. I forget which meeting it was, but these are actually but they're old, so I'll update them, right? But these are actual ODIM stats here. The last 6 or 7 lines or whatever below the mailing list. Anyway.
These are actual. This is XG color.
No. So this one here is not. The project and community health here. These are actual ODIM numbers, but they're old, so they'll need to be updated.
24 companies.
That's what we have so far. That's 24 companies based on the mailing list. 24 individual companies and entities. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think this is a little misleading, right? Because just because somebody decided to add themselves to the list doesn't mean they actually contribute anything. I think.
So below that is active contributors, 16, which was then we'll need to update it. But
it's going to be more now, I think. In measures of persons, right, individuals.
But we're still talking about 5 companies potentially, right? Not 24. So
I We can put a caveat around that saying, based on the current mailing list, whatever it is,
Yeah, let's
maybe
not.
it's 32. Let's not beat it up. We can tweak it as we go, but yeah, this is just sort of, what we need.
Maybe two more things worth adding to this foil, like let's maybe consider putting a Slack handle here and maybe mention
Yes.
about our community meetings, we are gathering on a weekly basis. Perhaps we'll have bug scrap meetings or issue review meetings, stuff like that. That also includes and adds to the community health, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's on a subsequent slide, but yes, absolutely. We'll make sure that makes it someplace. I think that's down. I think it's a few slides in. I just can't remember.
So I think
yeah, let's make sure.
there's now at least 2 meetings we have on regular basis, so we can certainly have the beginnings of the community calendar like other communities have, and just put everything there, so anyone can join any meeting they would like.
Yep, agreed. Now this is exactly what we did for XG Vela. This went over really big. They were really happy to see this, and this is the cross-project interaction. We could do something similar with ODIM here. We had the advantage at XG Vela because they actually did a whole topic session during one of our developer conferences exactly on cross-project interaction and collaboration. So we had this material. But anyway, we need someone to start thinking about this and how we're going to interact with some of the other communities, and then the actual liaisons, right, for the different communities, like who specifically would interact with these other projects and standards organizations, that kind of thing. This is again an example. Yeah.
I think we have some info there, so that should work. And if we can recreate a picture, we might not have as many.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Even if it's a couple, it's fine.
Yeah.
This is again just an example. So this is the one. We need to make sure we document this, right? Exactly what the governance looks like, and and I put here governance page needs work down at the bottom. We definitely need to clean that up a bit. I think this might be maybe our biggest deficit is the governance piece, because I just don't think we have it. I don't think it's as crisp as needed. I think we're relying on that.
I'm sorry, I'm missing something here. So we started with a standard charter, right?
Yeah.
We made a very small set of changes, and that's what every project does. And so why would we need more than that? I mean, we do have, and we talk about the TSC. We may not have, an election cycle yet. We don't necessarily, we need to decide if we want to do self-nomination or other means. Again, a lot of these things are really based on the community contributors, not contributors, but participating companies, members.
I also think we have a lot of stuff, but I think we perhaps need to put it on a page or something. In any case, tomorrow's meeting is about sort all that out, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. So here was the here's the current tooling that we have, and I think I've got the Slack channel here. WhatsApp, we don't have a WhatsApp channel, but we could certainly establish one if we wanted to.
Is WhatsApp the only tool? I mean, it's basically
no
privacy.
We're limited to tools that work in China, right? So there's things
they're even selling their stuff in China. I don't know. Do you support Signal or Telegram or anything that is that does not share with that Facebook is not involved with sharing with China?
Yeah, well, I know that
WhatsApp works in China, right? As opposed to other tools that don't. So that's why traditionally we've used it in LFN as a means.
I see the concern. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not about, I'm not even sure if Slack works in China. I mean, I hate to have multiple tools to accomplish the same end goal.
Yeah, we already have Slack, right? So
It works.
So Slack actually does work, but they have a workaround. People use a jump server and some other things, but they are able to work around the firewall and get on Slack. Yeah, although it's not their preferred platform because it's a workaround.
Yeah,
So
we
probably will need, Jonas, some guidance or common kind of conventions on what goes where, because some depending on, for now it's not maybe that important, but eventually if we have companies from regions where internet is restricted, there may be problems, right? Because half of the conversation will happen on one channel, and then another half will be happening in parallel on another one, and there's no cross-pollination. We need to be very crisp about that. That's one thing I hated about ONAP is that there could be two parallel conversations happening, and you would never know unless you were monitoring both.
Okay, well, we have Slack in place, so let us.
Yeah.
I guess we can discuss if we need something else.
Yeah, exactly. We may not need it. I do need to add the Confluence page. The wiki page is not on here. I need to add that. Oh well. Anyway, it's here with the meeting minutes But anyway, I should spell it out a little more. So we probably during this cycle, it's probably a good opportunity just to make sure that these are the tools we want to use. At least start off. I mean, we are already. And it doesn't mean that we have to use them forever. If we want to make a change, we certainly have the opportunity to do that whenever we think it's necessary for the project.
Is it really necessary to put actual URL links into a presentation that will only be current for the duration of that presentation? If we decide to change things around and tune things, half of these will be broken. At least.
That's okay. But for example, we're going to send this presentation out to the TAC 2 weeks before the meeting on the 10th, and they will probably click through some of these ones and just to see where we're at. They'll want to see, okay, what do we look like in GitHub? They'll take a look at the repos. They might take a look at the group's IO lists, all this stuff. Certainly the governance, they're going to click through and take a look at the governance. So yeah, I think it's really sort of needed.
But what's the perspective that they take? I mean, obviously, we've been doing things based on the idea that form follows function, right?
Yeah.
Do they have a preconceived notion of what the governance should look like and will automatically reject all non-conformance?
Not necessarily. They just want to make sure that we've considered how we're going to run as a project. And we can have our own spin on any of it, but they just want to make sure that we have a handle on how do you become eligible for the TSC, how do we establish PTLs? PTLs was a big one for the XG Vela, FYI, and we actually had a takeaway. We had an action item to come back and clean it up a little bit and make it a little more specific, not specific to what the TAC wanted to see, but specific so that it'll actually function the way, you know what I mean? Because we didn't really have it spelled out that well. So we had a bit of a hole there, just an FYI. So they will look at that. But there are, the three main areas. The three main areas are technical feasibility, which I think we're fine there. Governance, and make sure that we have a structure that we could follow. Whether it's different from ONAP or anything else doesn't matter, as long as it's a governance structure. And the other one is the cross-community collaboration. So those three areas are the biggies, which is what I was, trying to emphasize, today. Anyway, so that's that. And again, we can sort of hone it in on the tools. Jira's right there. It's, pretty easy to turn that up under Bug Tracker. We can use it for release management too, if that, I think we already have that established. And then we need a roadmap, right? For 2021.
Yeah, we have a little bit on that. I know Susan will work on a formal one that we will add. So we need this for the, when is this due?
We should have it complete by Feb 24 if we can.
Okay. So Susan, you and I will work on that, but and then we can perhaps. So Feb 24. Let me just quickly look at my calendar. Is so next Wednesday we can present on that, and we can agree on it. I mean, a roadmap is like a soft promise or yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
We just sort of have to have a plan, you know.
Yep.
So yeah, this will, if we could fill this out and get it, clean it up, you know, this will get us over the hump. This information. So
this is the Google Doc you're showing right now, right?
Yes, this is a Google Doc. The link is in the agenda.
Yeah.
And it's also on that LFN induction page that I dropped on the TSC page.
Yeah.
So it's there as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we have 1 minute left. Any last words?
Last words before.
Oh, it's not. Thanks a lot.
Very good. Look for that meeting tomorrow. We'll talk about governance some more.
Absolutely.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye bye.